there guys, today I'm going to be talking about retirement planning. This video is going to be one of a two-part series, so make sure that you check back next week for video 2. If you have been thinking about retirement, maybe you're turning 62 or you're turning 65 and you're qualified for Social Security benefits or Medicare, so retirement is top of mind. I know when most people think about retirement, they think about it in terms of an age or when do they qualify for their company's pension if they're lucky enough to actually get one. Here's what I want to say. That's a good start, but there's so many other factors that you want to consider before you retire. And today I am going to share with you 3. So stay tuned. Hey there guys, Renee Collins here, CPA, financial planner, and the founder of Retire Ready, a company that is dedicated to helping first-generation wealth builders develop a healthy relationship with their money so that they can save more, invest smart, and leave a legacy. I am going to be talking about how do you know when you are retirement ready. As I mentioned before, most people think about retirement in terms of an age. They tell me things like, well, I'm 62, I qualify for Social Security, or I'm 65, my Medicare is going to kick in. Here's what I want you to think about. There's so many other factors that you want to take into consideration when you're thinking about retirement. And these things, they're not necessarily located in your investment statements. Of course, money is important. It's a very important factor and it should be considered. It must be considered. But it's not the only factor. Retirement isn't just about stopping work or an age or an asset. It's really about how do you support your desired retirement life. That's what it's about. Here's the first factor that I want you to think about. What are you going to do with your 24 hours? That means you need to know what it is that you desire from retirement. How are you going to plan your 24 hours now that you don't have a boss that you have to answer to? There's a lot that's wrapped up in that question. And here's what I find in practice, and that is most people, they haven't given it a thought. Check out this article that I found on Kiplinger's website, What Science Reveals About Money and a Happy Retirement. It states, money alone won't cut it in the happiness department. Your social connections, your physical well-being, a sense of purpose, they matter. They matter as much or more than cold, hard cash that you've socked away. Having a successful retirement is about doing what you want to do, when you want to do it without having that fear of going back to work. It is about living a fulfilled life in the next chapter. Who are you going to spend your time with? Now that you have this newfound freedom, what hobbies are you going to pursue? Do you want to travel? Do you want to move closer to your family? Maybe you want to start a business. And it's important to note that you don't have to plan out every single detail, every waking moment of your day, but you do need to have a good idea of what life is going to look like when you retire. When you do this, it helps to boost your happiness quotient. Think about this. You spend 8 to 10 hours a day working. And for many people, that work is meaningful. It's purpose-driven. It's where they connect with their colleagues, where they contribute, where they feel productive. So what does your life look like? What is your day going to look like when that structure is gone? Or maybe you're thinking, Renee, I really don't care as long as I'm not at this company. And listen, I get it, because not everybody like their job. So even if you are completely over your employer, or you don't like your coworkers and you are ready to leave, here's the truth. Your job, it still plays a significant role in your daily life. Retirement doesn't just change your income. It changes how your time is structured. It changes how you are connected to others, how you find purpose and meaning in your day. So give it some thought and think about this. How will you spend your 24 hours? Here's the next factor, factor Two, you want to evaluate your income. Look at your income sources and then take a look at your assets, because you're going to have to think about how do you take these assets and convert them into income. Think about how your income and your assets are going to work together to support your desired life in retirement. One of the biggest concerns that retirees have about retirement is running out of money, outliving their income. So you want to evaluate your income sources and take a look to see how much of my income is actually guaranteed. So look at income like your Social Security. Do you have a pension? Do you have annuities? Income that is tied to your life. And let me just add this, that I mentioned annuities. Annuities are not always bad. They just get a bad rap. But the honest truth is that an annuity, it's really just a tool. And like any tool, you just have to make sure that you're using it for its very specific purpose. The key is making sure that you have the right type of annuity for the right type of situation. And I'm going to add one more thing. Guys, I am not a life insurance agent. I don't sell any life insurance product. So I just want you to understand that annuities can fit into your retirement strategy. You just have to make sure you have the right annuity for the right job. So the more guaranteed income that you have to cover your essential living expenses, the less certainty or the less uncertainty that you have in retirement income. You can think about guaranteed income like a floor of your financial house. It's going to cover your basics, things like your housing, your food, your utilities, and any other obligations that you may have. And then once that floor, once it's solid, once you have a stable foundation, then you can begin to take more thoughtful risk with the rest of your assets without worrying about that whole house collapsing. So once you have evaluated your income sources, then that next question is going to be, how much of that income is already spoken for? So here's the last factor that I'm going to talk about, and that is income that is already spoken for. How much of your income is tied to debt? One of the biggest shifts that I have seen in retirement planning over the last few decades is this. More and more people are entering retirement with debt. In the 1990s, only about 1 in 5 retirees actually carried a mortgage into retirement. Today, that number is closer to 1/3. And in some age groups, it's even higher than that. And this is not just a primary mortgage. Many retirees are also carrying second mortgages or home equity loans and other debts such as credit card debt. They're taking auto loans and in some cases, student loans as well. Now, this matters because debt, it doesn't just follow you into retirement, but it's also competing with your income, especially high interest rate credit card debt. Every dollar that you have going to debt is one less dollar that you can use for your lifestyle, one less dollar that you can use for travel, for healthcare, for hobbies, for peace of mind. So take a look at your debt. And if you're not sure how much debt you have, here's a simple rule of thumb that financial institutions use. Maybe you can try it and see if it will help you get a better sense of where your debt stands. Take a look at your housing and look and see if your housing expenses or your housing costs, if that is under 28% of your pre-tax income. So that's looking at your mortgage, your taxes, your insurance. Make sure that that is under 28% of your pre-tax income. And then take a look at your total debt. And you want to make sure that that is under 36% of your pre-tax income. This includes your mortgage. It includes your credit cards, any student loans, any auto loans. This is called the 28-36 rule. This is a rule that is used in financial institutions to see if you qualify for a home. Now, I would say that this is a helpful starting point, but it's really designed for lenders, not retirees. In retirement, it is advisable that you really want to go into retirement with low levels of debt because typically your income is going to be fixed. And so you want to keep your expenses as low as possible. The less debt that you have, the more flexibility that you have with your income, and the more flexibility that you have with your income, the more secure the retirement can feel. So my recommendation is work on paying off your debt sooner rather than later, especially if you have high interest rate credit cards. Well, listen, guys, that is all that I have for today. I am going to drop part 2 of the video next week, so make sure that you come back and check it out. And if you found this video helpful, then please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and then share it with a friend. And then in the comments, let me know, how do you feel about retirement? Do you feel like you're secure? Do you feel like you are ready? Or do you feel like there's still a little bit work left to do, right? And if so, it's okay. It is okay. Reach out, let me know. And in the meantime, guys, take care and go be great today.